If you're going to Japan anytime in the near future, you might have started looking at ways to learn to speak and read Japanese. The problem is, Japanese is a very time-consuming language to learn. So what can you do? What are your options? Well, you might not be able to learn the entire language in a short period of time, but there is a way to know at least some of it. That's what's coming up. This is my cheat way of reading Japanese. In Japan, there are three main sets of characters that are used to write and I guess to read as well by extension. The first one is Hirayana, and when you start learning Japanese, it's probably the one you'll encounter first. These sounds that are represented by the Hiragana characters represent every single sound produced in the Japanese language. Just about. These aren't the ones we're talking about today. These are great to learn if you want to embark on learning Japanese to a much further extent to get fluent in the language, but for today's purposes, we're not going to be talking about them. What we are talking about is Katakana. So Katakana is a different set of characters. They are different symbols visually, but they represent more or less, with a few exceptions, the same sounds produced by Hiragana. The reason that these are important to learn, and easy to learn, and probably the easiest thing to do when learning Japanese before you go, if you don't have a lot of time, is because katakana are often used to spell words you probably already know. If you're an English speaker, I think roughly 80% of all these katakana words, or gairaigo, are words from English. There's actually a whole page on Wikipedia that lists them all in alphabetical order. It's great to check out. But basically, katakana represent sounds. If you learn these katakana and you see them in Japan, you can read character by character. The reason we're not going over hiragana in this video is because hiragana will often tell you words that are Japanese. So although you can read the word, you might not be able to understand what that word means when you hear it in your mind. Katakana are different. For example, if you saw the word toire and you read it, you'd know that it meant toilet. There are way more words than that. I'm going to put a few up here and there, and also there, and one more there. But basically, once you know these, you can understand a lot more Japanese. Now, what are the limitations of this? Unless you have some already existing Japanese knowledge, you're not going to be able to communicate verbally. Now, in Japan, you can still point to things, you can still maybe get your point across with a few gestures, but for the most part, this is only a receptive way of understanding Japanese, and only certain things as well. But knowing katakana and being able to read them can be the difference between being lost and knowing which way you're going. So how do you learn them? It is really, really simple. There are many different ways to remember them, from simply writing them down and repeating the sound in your head over and over. There are probably heaps of YouTube videos about them as well, or you can just consult a chart and just study the hell out of it until you get it. Basically, it's just a character that represents a sound, and if you put those sounds together, you've got a word. And often those words are words you already know. There are some slight differences in some of them. For example, building is biru, so the start of building. TV or television is terebi, so it's similar, but a lot of the words are more or less the same. So it's a very helpful thing to know. That was all for my quick little Japanese video about an easy way to understand at least some Japanese in a very short period of time. Thanks for watching. Follow me on Twitter as well. Subscribe to this channel if you want more of this sort of thing, and like the video because that's helpful. I'm sure you've been on the internet long enough to know what these things are and what they do and how they help channels. So I'd appreciate it, but if not, have a great day anyway. And to those who did, have a great day. I'm meandering. See you later.